Ishita Kishore,
Yes, sir.
optional political science and international relations.
Yes, sir.
You belong to Secunderabad, Hyderabad.
Yes, sir. My birth was over there.
Okay. Now, where are you located?
So my current residence is in Greater Noida, Uttar Pradesh.
Okay. How come?
So actually my father was in the Indian Air Force. So during my birth, he was posted in Secunderabad in Telangana. And after his demise, Greater Noida.
We are sorry that your father is no more. But when did he pass away?
So this was 2004.
2004?
Yes, sir. So I was 7 years old at that time.
Okay. And what rank did he enjoy in the Air Force?
So he was Wing Commander Sanjay Kishore.
अच्छा, wing commander थे.
Ji, sir.
What is the officer hierarchy in the Air Force?
So you begin as a flying officer,
Uh-huh.
then you are flight lieutenant, then you are squadron leader, then wing commander, the rank at which my father was. Then one promotes to group captain, then air commodore, and so then we have air vice marshals, and then air marshals. So.
What do you think of the Joint Command? Chief of the Defence Staff.
Sir, I think it is a step in the right direction because my last, although very small exposure to the Indian Air Force, my father's last posting was in Port Blair. And Andaman and Nicobar is a tri-services command. And such sort of coordination and unity in terms of operations goes a long way in ensuring that correct decision making is taken.
You did your high school from the Air Force Bal Bharati School. ये जो खान मार्केट के पास है?
Yes, sir.
अच्छा. And you did your +2 from the same institution.
Yes, sir.
Then you did your BA Honours, Political Science, Indian Economy, Political Science, Development Theory and Public Economics, Macroeconomics from the SRCC.
Yes, sir.
Tell us something about SRCC.
So
Sriram College of Commerce.
Yes, sir. So the Sriram College of Commerce is one of the foremost institutes in India. It comes under the Delhi University and it is very famous among people because of its record placements. But other than its placements, I think the academic rigor at the institution is great and it offers a number of extracurricular opportunities to the students. And one thing I would like to point out that was unique about my institution was the kind of entrepreneurial spirit it generated in each one of us. We were given autonomy with our societies, we raised funds, we conducted our activities, and it was a great learning experience.
Who was Sriram, after whom the college is known as Sriram College of Commerce?
Sir, it is known after Lala Sriram, and he was an industrialist. And at that time in 1927, he had set this college up in Daryaganj. And later it moved to Maurice Nagar in Delhi University.
What sort of India do you envision in 2047? Economically, socially, politically, militarily, and technology-wise. What sort of India would there be in 2047?
So to begin with, if there is one point I want to start with, I envision an India in 2047 where women are doing well socially and women have equal opportunities, whether in the services, whether in the private sector or in terms of startups. Any sector, women should have equal opportunities socially. Sir, economically, while the short-term dream is of a 5 trillion economy, I envision India to increase its share in the global trade by 2047. So politically, India's civilizational culture can be taken a long way and it can spread the message of not just peace, but also a sense of fraternity and brotherhood, which is also the theme of G20, which is Vasudev Kutumbakam, that the whole world is one family. So technologically, India is upping its operations, and by 2047, I envision India to be a state of the art, to have state of the art technology, whether militarily, whether in
Fine, Ishita,
cybersecurity.
fine. What are your views on marital rape?
Sir, I feel rape is rape, and whether within marriage or outside, it is non-consensual, and it must be condemned. Now
जो
there are,
अमिताभ बच्चन ने पिंक में कहा था,
जी sir,
when a woman says no, it is a no.
sir, his famous dialogue was that no in itself is a statement.
Okay.
And it does not need any backing. It does not need any explanation. So I agree with him. And while there are a number of repercussions in terms of how we will find out false cases, frivolous cases, how this will be implemented, there will be a number of challenges.
Fine, Ishita, fine. What are your views on the reservation of 10% for the economically weaker sections, other than the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes?
Sir, recently in the Janhit Abhiyan versus Union of India, Supreme Court had upheld the economically weaker section reservation of 10%. Sir, now we are shifting from a reservation system that was based on accidents of birth to now accidents of life. And it might be temporary, the economic status of someone might be temporary. Sir, in a modern economic world determined by
Fine,
globalization.
Ishita, fine. You get it.
Tell us something about the Rotary movement. You were in the Interact Club. Rotary movement.
Sir, the Rotary International brought together people.
Who founded it? When? How many branches are in India? Anything?
Sir, I am not aware.
There are some major achievement with Rotary and Lions had in society in India. Can you recall?
So major. Sorry.
Major impact on society in India. They did a major voluntary work all over India.
Sir, no, sir.
Polio eradication. Now, PSIR, tell us on what principles our foreign policy is based. What are the core principles? Not objectives, principles.
Sir, after the independence, our foreign policy was determined by Panchsheel principles and in our neighborhood. And beyond that, it began with the non-alignment movement that irrespective of the powers in the world, India will not be aligned.
In Panchsheel, there is one principle, non-interference in other countries' affairs. Do you think in practice we have followed it in our neighborhood? Think for a moment and then answer.
Sir, there has been a lot of contentions on this topic, whether India has been interfering in its neighbors.
Elaborate, give instances.
So, for example, in Nepal, the development of the constitution in Nepal, the 2013 blockade in Bhutan, the 2015 blockade in Nepal, in Sri Lanka. So, there have been debates on this, whether India
Sri
is
Lanka, the IPKF gives your assessment. Did Sri Lanka made a fool of our leadership at that time, in retrospect?
Sir, I would not say fool per se, but it was an incident of strategic miscalculations at that time. And I don't think India is interfering per se, but given that India's size in the neighborhood, it has to take responsibility.
But why should India bother? Let them do whatever they want with their Tamils. Why is India bothered?
Sir, because regional security is paramount to India and its neighborhood. Sorry, sir.
No, regional security came later. But what is the other core interest of India? There was an impact on India itself. What was that?
Sir, in the Sri Lanka case?
In Sri Lanka. Why are we so concerned about Sri Lankan Tamils?
Sir, because it has a domestic psychological impact in Tamil Nadu, and people there are psychologically linked with the Tamils in Sri Lanka and want welfare and justice for them. So it becomes a domestic political issue for India.
Do you think these assassins of Rajiv Gandhi should have been pardoned by the by the Supreme Court and on the advice of the Tamil Nadu government?
Sir, I think that in any modern democracy, the idea of prisons is reform. And even as Gandhiji had held that modern prisons will be the schools for reforming the minds of the people. So it is.
But there is capital punishment in India. It is because of it is in our constitution, in our law, and everything. So don't go in the fundamental principles that when there is capital punishment, the people who assassinated a prime minister of India, should they be pardoned for some whatever reasons?
Sir,
By
even
the
in
same logic, the rapists of Bilkis Banu also should not have been released. Fine, it's a fine.
Ishita, you graduated in 2017.
yes, sir.
So what you are doing after that?
So after my graduation, I started working in risk consulting in Ernst & Young for 2 years. And thereafter, I started my preparation for the civil services examination.
I see. Okay.
This is my third attempt.
Okay. And last time you couldn't come up to interview.
No, sir. This is the first time I gave mains
Okay.
and qualified mains.
Okay. You were, you are related with 3 states actually. Your mother, father from Bihar, you are now in Greater Noida,
Yes.
UP, and you born in Telangana. So can you compare the 3 states? What are the political issues, social issue, economic issue of the 3 states? And where you would like to live, finally, suppose you give a chance.
Sir, starting with Uttar Pradesh, it is now becoming the powerhouse of Indian economy. It contributes 8% to India's GDP. But compared to Telangana, it has a very low per capita income. Sir, both UP and Bihar, being in the alluvial region, don't have access to as many resources, mineral resources, as Telangana does. Sir, Telangana is also home to Hyderabad, which is one of the IT hubs of our country and attracts a lot of investment. Whereas UP and Bihar do not have such a powerful center for attracting investments. Sir, culturally, while UP and Bihar are similar, though not same, they are similar. Telangana has a different history in terms of their political struggle, in terms of their separation with Andhra Pradesh, and now their strive for development.
Now, Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, they are facing one problem, that is flooding every year. So, what you will do, suppose you are a district magistrate in Madhubani district, or maybe Bard district, or what you will do there in Bihar, to minimize the impact of flood?
Sir, as the district magistrate, I would divide my plan of action into 3 areas. I would take some immediate steps. That would be, firstly, that people should be aware. These floods are not a surprise anymore. They are periodic. They can be expected and predicted during certain seasons. So people should be prepared. And for that, I will take some preventive measures like awareness programs and to equip the people. Sir, in the medium term, I will try to build some embankments, because since the rivers are changing course very fast, so annually or periodically, these embankments also have to shift course. So this will be in the medium term. And
do you know the Sindai framework?
yes, sir.
What is that? And in which year it was enacted?
Sir, I cannot recall the year, but Sendai framework was signed in Japan under the United Nations Disaster Risk Reduction Program, and it issues certain guidelines and principles on how disaster management.
So what are these 4 priorities? Yes, it is having some priorities and goals, not guidelines.
Yes, sir.
So what are the priorities? 4 priorities are there.
Sir, they were on the lines of preparedness, action taken during the relief, mitigation, and
in 15th Finance Commission, there is something new came for disaster management. Do you know that? What is that?
Sir, forest and ecology were given a weightage.
Disaster management.
Fine, Ishita, fine. आप पूछे.
Okay. Ishita, huh? Ishita. You've been very good in sports.
Yes.
How come?
Sir,
What attracted you to sports?
Sir, first it was a push factor from my mother who wanted me to do everything, and secondly, sir, it was also my school which provided a lot of opportunities. For example, at 6 a.m. I was doing football coaching prior to school hours, and after school hours I was doing basketball coaching. So I was very active, and I started loving it so much that I could not let go of it despite having my boards exam also. So till the last day I have played sports.
Okay, you think in India the pressure on children from the parents to perform extremely well is too much? Is it good for the kids?
Sir, I agree that Indian parents can get a bit competitive when it comes to their children, and they seek a lot of pride in what their children are doing. But sir, there is a need for a balance. We cannot push the child too far and outside their interests. For example, my mother was pushing me, but in areas where I had interest and where I had potential. And it was not toxic to say, it was nourishing. It was encouraging. So there must be a golden balance between the push and taking a step back.
Do you think your armed forces background has contributed to nurturing of your personality better than if it would have been a civilian affair?
Sir, as a child of an armed forces personnel, I am very proud of my heritage, and I completely agree that it has shaped my personality and it has shaped the kind of upbringing I will have and the activities that I will undertake.
What do you think about the new reforms in armed forces recruitment, Agniveer and Agnipath? What are your views on this?
Sir, the Agniveer, which is a tour of duty format for short-term recruitment, sir, with the larger picture, it is a step in the right direction because all modern nations and modern armies like United States have a similar pattern. And this will also reduce not just the burden of the social security on the public exchequer, but also will reduce the average age in the armed forces. But sir, I think there could have been some improvement in the way it was conveyed to the public because it led to a massive uproar.
Okay, now, is it who said that Battle of Waterloo was won in the playfields of Eton?
Sir, I'm sorry, I'm not aware.
You're not aware? Have you read British history, something about British history?
Sir, a little bit, but I'm not aware.
The famous lines. Battle of Waterloo, do you know anything about Battle of Waterloo?
Sir, I may have read, but it's not actively there.
Who was the first Indian in the armed forces to get a Paramveer Chakra?
So I don't know.
Any name for who won Paramveer Chakra?
Sir, Air Marshal Subrata Mukherjee, he won the Paramveer Chakra.
Okay, I'm not sure.
Fine, Ishita, fine.